What's up, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome back to TD Phins Talk, home of the real Miami Dolphin fans. The Miami Dolphins, Mike McDaniel, and Tua Tagovailoa. All right, ladies and gentlemen, let's dive right in. Make sure you hit that like button on your way in the building. Let your friends and family members know about the channel. We are live here on Thanksgiving Eve. First and foremost, I hope everyone has a wonderful Thanksgiving. Enjoy the time with your family. Happy holidays from me and my family. We love you all. We appreciate you all. And we thank everyone who supports this channel. We are so thankful for all the love and support that many of you have given me and my journey building TD Phins Talk channel. Okay. Again, happy Thanksgiving. Enjoy it. Like I said, with your family. Really, really, really enjoy your time with your family. All right. All right, man. Let's go ahead and get down to business, though. The Miami Dolphins are looking to keep Mike McDaniel and Tua Tagovailoa. I'm going to tell you why I believe this and more right here today, okay? Let's go ahead and start out with Mike McDaniel, the man himself, all right? Mike McDaniel has had a successful go at being the Miami Dolphins head coach. I know a lot of people don't want to look at it that way because we haven't won a playoff game, but when you really look at it, we're talking about a coach who does have a winning record. Okay. But you know, one thing that's happened since Mike McDaniel has been in Miami is we've consistently been riddled with injuries after injuries after injuries. You know, one year it's the quarterback, one year it's the O-line, one year it's everybody. It's just this team can never be healthy at once at a high level. Even right now, we're banking on getting some players back to finish this season. But here's the reason why the Dolphins, I truly do believe they're going to keep Mike McDaniel next year, okay? I understand that people are going to say, well, the next general manager is going to make that decision. Well, guess what? I agree with you. The general manager is going to make that decision, but common sense would tell you the decision to be made is to bring him back. Here's why. First of all, you got a year where you're going to have to financially get yourself put together, okay? That's number one. Number two, you can bring a coach in, but McDaniel still, is revered as one of the best coaches in the NFL in regards to his offensive genius of the game. The thing with McDaniel is it's hard to find a good OC. It's really hard to find a good OC, a coach that can really, have your offense moving and scoring points. And I think what's going to happen is the front office, the general manager is going to look at that and say, you know what, let's do this one more year. And here's why they're going to do it one more year. This team also has a lot of young players. You got Kenneth Grant, you got Jonas Sabanaya, you got Patrick Paul, you still have Devin A-Chain, Waddle's fairly young, Chop Robinson, Jack Jones. It goes on and on and on. You got a lot of young guys on this roster, right? And the reality is you got to develop this roster. These guys are going to be allowed to get the opportunity to develop. So the reason why that's important is because you just signed McDaniel on an extension. You're already paying him. What's truly the benefit? What is truly the benefit of moving on from him after this year? I want to ask the chat this question. What's really the benefit of moving on from him this year? You think a favorable coach, a coach that you're going to love, is going to want to come into Miami's situation with no money, with a whole bunch of young guys they got to develop? That's not a prime destination for the head coach position. Now, you're going to have a lot of candidates, but you're not going to have the cream of the crop. And I'm going to tell you now, I am a firm believer if you're going to go get a new head coach, make sure that head coach has experience. They are proven. They've won. They know what to do. They know how to get the job done. That's why I'm big on Tomlin. But the reality is it's a slim chance that you're going to find that out there. It is a slim chance you're going to find that out there. I think Dolphin fans all around the world, you need to consider next year as a year of development. Now, Mike McDaniel has been the head coach for the Miami Dolphins. This is going on, we're talking 3 years. And then he'll be going into his 4th season. Here's what I want to do to defend Mike McDaniel real quick. We always talk about players should be given the opportunity to develop. Our head coach is not allowed that as well. Y'all let me know in the chat. I really want to pick your brain on this. Our head coach is not allowed to develop as well. Learn from their mistakes and get better and learn from how they lead and learn from how they, direct their locker room. They're allowed to learn and get better as well, right? I believe so. And I think what's going to happen is the new general manager is going to say, you know what, at a minimum, let's bring Mike back with this unit that he's already familiar with and make sure he understands we're in an evaluation mode. Now we want to see who you can develop, because that's been the absent piece for the Miami Dolphins for so long. Where is the player development? Where is the player development, ladies and gentlemen? I asked this on Dolphins Collective the other night, but, I'm going to be honest, I wasn't very happy about the answer that I got. We start naming off guys like, look at A-Chain, look at Wall. These guys aren't developed. See, I don't look at a player being developed if they came out the gate balling. I'm sorry, it's hard for me to say that they've been developed if from day one they were making plays. That's who they were. I gauge player development off of low-round talent or undrafted talent that didn't get an opportunity to play or start, and because their play on the field in camp wasn't great, but after a year or after 2 years, oh my gosh, they're actually becoming a star. Oh my gosh, they're becoming a starter. Oh my gosh, they are a legitimate solid depth piece. We don't do that in Miami. We don't develop. We go buy players. And we got to stop. We need to start developing players. And I think Mike McDaniel should be allotted that legitimate opportunity next season, because the cap is what it is, ladies and gentlemen. We're really not going to be making additional big-time signings to make this team better, to say, oh, man, we need to go get a all-pro tackle. We need to go get we're not doing that. It's the year of cleaning the books. If you want anything that's good, you're going to have to look in the first, second, maybe third round of the draft next year. I do not see the Dolphins being spenders or trying to gain money to go get a big-name free agent. We don't have the capital for that. And this is even after we move on from Tyreek and or Chubb. Next year is all about the young player, looking at where they are week 1 and seeing where they end up week 18. Understanding what direction we're going with in our future. Okay? That's what I believe needs to happen next year. And it needs to happen under the direction of Mike McDaniel, because number one, you're already paying the man. Number two, I feel like it's going to be hard pressed to find a legitimate veteran head coach that's been here, done that. It's going to be hard to find. So why am I going to replace Mike McDaniel for a guy who's even less proven, giving another new guy an opportunity? Now, ladies and gentlemen, let me be clear. There's a difference between what I want the Miami Dolphins to do and what common sense tells you they are highly likely to do. I want Miami Dolphins to just clean it all out, just get rid of it all. But the reality is, when you put your brain into this and you think about what's realistic, it's highly unlikely to happen. Look forward to Mike McDaniel doing another season as the Miami Dolphins head coach. I truly do believe it. And it's all about the young players. That's it. It's all about the young players. Okay? Now, they could replace Mike McDaniel at the end of the season. But let's quickly talk about what will it take for Mike McDaniel to save his job in order to do what I think they're going to end up doing. First and foremost, he has to come out and he needs to win at least 5 out of the next 6 games. He has to end this season above 500. The Dolphins have 6 games left. He has to make sure that he can get this team to play 5-1 football in these last 6 games. Okay. Now you need to win out to have a chance to make the playoffs. And even there, you need some help. But for Mike McDaniel, the defense is playing better. The offense is making plays. If you finish the season strong like this and you can go 5-1 the rest of the way, I personally believe that's what it's going to take for Mike McDaniel to save his job. Not only that, the team has to continue to play motivated. They have to continue to play at a high level with energy out there. They got to make sure that they're focused. They have to make sure that they're excited about playing football regardless of the record. And even if you are mathematically eliminated early, you have to keep them fighting as if there's still a chance till the very end. But at a minimum, you got to have that winning record in order to save your job, 9-8 at a minimum. Because a lot of people are going to judge Mike McDaniel based off of Brian Flores. And I'm going to be honest with you, Mike McDaniel don't have a great case when you line it up with Brian Flores. See, Brian Flores was able to achieve more with less. Mike McDaniel, for the most part, has achieved the same with more. And that's not a good look. See, with all the weapons around, because a lot of people like to say, Mike is great, man. He took us to the playoffs twice. Yeah, but with all the weapons and the roster that we had, doggone right, we should have went to the playoffs. Like I might have gotten us to the playoffs. So there's context to that as well that has to be applied here. So Mike McDaniel literally needs to go at a minimum 9-8. This team got to continue to fight. He can't have a single blowout loss. We can't have a single train wreck loss. Even the one loss needs to be close. And this team got to fight down to the wire. And that will justify for the front office to say, yeah, I mean, we can move on, but what sense does it make? Let's give him one more year. And if he shocks the heck out of us and makes something out of nothing, because we're going even younger next year. Chubb gone, Tyree gone, Waller might be gone. Like different guys are going to be, all the old guys, it's even more likely for them to be gone. And we're going in the draft to get even more young guys. So can you coach this team to a playoff, McDaniel? And if you do that, maybe we're talking back long-term again, we got our coach. But if you can't, that's when they're going to let Mike McDaniel go after 2026 if he's unable to do that. And some people will say, well, that's unfair. Strip the roster down and tell him he got to coach for his life. Well, guess what? I think it's the fairest thing ever. Brian Flores had to. You need to show us how great you are. Take less than and make it something. That's the only path if the Miami Dolphins are serious about building a contender. You got to put the pressure on Mike McDaniel to get something done where the odds are stacked against him. And I think they're going to do that next year. They're going to save the money because he's getting paid anyway. And he's going to be the head coach while we clean our salary cap up. Then we get to decide in the summer of 2027 in the offseason, do we need a new head coach or did he impress us with the less roster last year where these young guys can build with them? Or was it more bad play and let's go ahead and move on? That's what it's going to come down to. All right. So I'm telling you all now, I don't even want it that way because I'm a little bitter and mad at what's happened over the last several years with the Dolphins. I want them to clean everything out. But realistically speaking, logically speaking, it's getting higher and higher of a probability that Mike McDaniel is going to be right back. It's just the reality, the truth. Okay. So let's move on to the next guy we got to talk about here, and that is yours truly, Tua Tagovailoa. All right. The Dolphins are going to keep Tua Tagovailoa next year as well. High probability. once again. This one's a little easier to break down, okay? First of all, you know what everybody's been saying for the last several years? Who are you going to find better? Especially when you ain't got no money. Especially when you don't really like the draft class potentially, at least not at the position where you're going to be drafting. And I know some people are like, man, Tua got to go. Tua got to go, man. I get it. But what's the rush? What's the rush? He got to get away from my team. What's the rush? So somebody can be a bridge that ain't as good as him? Why not just allow him to be the bridge? The amount of money that we're going to be paying him, I've never understood that with organizations. I understand Tua got to go. I just don't feel like it's this year anymore. Remember, and you know what? This is kind of proof. I want people to understand this here, okay? This is proof right here. My whole take on Tua Tagovailoa isn't to hate on Tua Tagovailoa. It's all about the team. Because if I truly wanted to hate on Tua Tagovailoa, get him off my roster after this year. Point, period, blank. I don't want to hear anything else. He got to go. Yes, we got him off the roster. Yay. No, that ain't how I feel. How do I feel about it? I feel like the Miami Dolphins got to do what's best for the organization. And a lot of y'all are not going to want to hear this, but you want to know what's best for the organization? Tua being the bridge quarterback next year. What benefit is it for me to be paying him $56 million or whatever it is next year, and he not even on the roster? Then I got to go find a bridge for $5 to $10 million. He's the bridge. What are we doing? He is the bridge. If you're going to be spending that kind of money, whether he on the roster or not, keep him on the roster. Keep him on the roster. Let him do the same thing with McDaniel. Guess what? Come out there. You're going to have less around you. You shock us. Maybe we'll revisit the fact that, okay, we can stick with you long term. Highly unlikely. But if he does, okay. And if he doesn't, you're a bridge. You're a bridge. And I see people in the comment section, are you sure he's the bridge QB? If you don't know that by now, you're just holding on to a hope that is unreal. You're holding on to a hope that's unreal. Tua is the franchise QB TD. Right now he is. Allow that man to steer the ship next year as well. Be him and be the bridge. And if he's the bridge, you allow an open competition in camp with him and Quinn Ewers. But you also need to draft a potential quarterback in the 3rd or 4th round this year. Maybe there's a nice project there. But he's the bridge. And a matter of fact, if I'm the Dolphins, I'll take it a step further. I'll work his deal to where we eat even more cap space next year. I would work his contract to where instead of being a $56 million cap hit, I'll make it 60 or 70 if I can find the money. I'll make sure I'll get as much of that contract off the books as I possibly can next year while he's the bridge. Allow him to be. Put him in a position to where he got to work himself out of being the bridge by leading a roster less than to the playoffs and getting a playoff victory. You accomplish that, you've earned the right to maybe continue another year. But right now, I got to ask y'all a legitimate question, no matter how good or bad you think he is. What benefit is it of moving on from him next year? Please, someone indulge me. Where is the benefit? What is the benefit of moving on from Tua Tagovailoa next year? That's what it comes down to. It's just, I mean, let's make common sense of it. Here's what the real issue is, okay? We have a hard time coping with the fact that next year is expected to be a down year. Like, people have this delusion and they're like, well, you never know. We don't know that. Like I said this on the collective as well. I didn't push back. I left it be. But it was like, well, we don't know that. You know, we could be contenders next year. You don't know what decisions or moves they make in the offseason. Yeah, we do. You have no money. You're not making any significant additions to this roster outside of the draft. That's number one. You don't have any money. And when we throw things like, look at the coach already had a roster. They just needed a quarterback that won't lose the games. Look at the Patriots. They did it right away. No, they didn't. Yeah, the new coach right away, but are we forgetting the previous season, how bad they were? And the year after that, they built to get to this point, and they're not even done building? We don't have Drake May. We got Tua Tagovailoa. So this notion of, well, you don't know that. Play stupid games, you get stupid prizes. Keep playing them. We need to come to the realization that next year there's a high probability of a losing season unless Mike McDaniel or Tua Tagovailoa shocks us and play like if Mike McDaniel coaches his behind off and had his team going to the playoffs. If Tua reaches a level we've never seen, and that's the only way. I'm not saying it's not possible, but they will be able to earn that. But the probability is slim to none. We need to come to that realization. And when you come to that realization, you start to sit back and say, you know what? Next year might actually be a throwaway year, a competitive throwaway year. Young roster. They're not good enough yet, but they're competing. You know, we got a few wins here and there. How many? I don't know. Between 5 and 9, but, you know, depending on how good McDaniel and Tua are with them. That's what it is. So when if you accept that, it'll help you realize the necessary decisions that need to be made. Like, why move on from Tua? To spend more money? To spend an extra $10 million on another backup while we're still paying him 50-something? Keep the man in the building and don't spend no more money. Keep him in the building. Joe Mama is in the chat, said it's official. The Dolphins broke TD. Why do y'all think this is them breaking me? This is me already looking ahead to the future to talk about how the Dolphins can maneuver themselves to get back to a contending state sooner rather than later. We got to do it sooner rather than later. If you're trying to go for something significant next year, you're delaying. You're delaying. And I don't want to delay. I want to clean this up the right way, get this money behind us the right way so we can move forward properly and have a real legitimate good chance to be contenders again. And I feel like if the Miami Dolphins do this, the Tua, McDaniel, if they do this, if they keep them next year, go in the draft and get players, evaluate everybody from there, it's the quickest way to get back to a better state. Because in 2027 is where all the decisions need to be made. See, the problem is a lot of people, especially in the fan base, we have no patience for correction. We can fail something And we'll take that same thing we failed and said, okay, let's keep it and try to maneuver it this way next time, instead of just throwing it away, saying, you know what, I just got to be down for 1 year. Now let's get to work. Instead, we want to take that thing that don't work, mold it, try to go after it, making some silence, hurting the cap, don't work, and then you want to shift that same thing again. And next thing you know, 3 years later, man, we need to just blow it up. No, we could have blown it up 3 years ago. Just like I told y'all 2 years ago, we should have blown it up when we were coming off of our high. Who was the one telling y'all that? Do you remember? I was telling you 2 years ago, man, we need to blow this whole thing up, but I know they're going to pay them. They shouldn't, but I know they are. Remember? Who was the one telling y'all what was going to happen? Don't pay this man, even though I know you are, which is a shame. Watch we do it and watch what happened. And we did it. See, we always want to, well, you never know. Let's see. Man, come on, y'all. Sometimes you already know. You already know. So the best thing for the Dolphins, keep Mike McDaniel. Keep Tua Tagovailoa. 1 more season. Bring in these young guys and young draft picks. Have a competent quarterback evaluating this receiver room to see who can step up for the future and get in evaluation mode. McDaniel and Tua, they're on probation in 2026. That's how you should look at it, with the understanding that they could easily be gone in 27. Unless they impress us all spectacularly in a way that blows our mind, which will always give them something to coach and play for the whole season as well. That's what needs to happen. I'm telling y'all now, I don't see Tua or McDaniel here past 26, but they need to be here in 26. That gives us the best chance to rebuild this thing properly. Now, what would it take for Tua Tagovailoa to save his job? First of all, you got to finish this season out lights out and on fire. You got to finish this season out on fire doing your thing. You need to turn around all these turnovers and all this mediocre subpar play this year. I don't care what receiving core you got. Your receiving core ain't no worse than Drake Mays. That's the truth. You need to finish this season strong. Then next season, if they give you the opportunity to remain, which I'm kind of hopeful they do at this point, it's the best thing for us. You need to have one of a top 5 NFL season in the league. You need to rip it up. Get on point with your receivers in camp, mini camps, after the draft, everything. Get to working. You're going to have to practice being more cerebral, making sure you can process the field because your mobility and your athleticism is shot. Everybody knows it. Tua has the longest road to saving his job. They're more inclined to move on from him this offseason than McDaniel, because it's so many other quarterbacks that you could just swap them the contracts. Look at Kyler Murray, swap the contract. Look at Trevor Lawrence, you can swap the contract. So a lot of these guys out here, you could just swap the players. Here's the deal. If the Dolphins engage in a quarterback swap this offseason, we are screwed. We're screwed, man. I'm telling you, that is that new fear unlocked. That's what that is. If the Dolphins engage themselves in a quarterback swap with one of these good enough not to be good enough quarterbacks, we're screwed. Could you imagine the Dolphins and the Raiders getting in bed? Here's Geno, give me Tua. Can you imagine Arizona getting in bed? Here's Kyler, give me Tua. Can you imagine Jacksonville? Here's Trevor, give me Tua. You're screwed. Because And what's even worse, don't let them come in and have a top 12 season. Like, he was good. I mean, it wasn't all that, but it was good. Like they are. They're good quarterbacks. They can have moments. They can have games. They can have seasons where, they had a solid season. Man, if you swap quarterbacks at that price and the other one has a solid season, the Dolphins might be looking to move forward with that quarterback for years to come. Just to find out they're good enough not to be good enough. That's why I fear that the most. Keep Tua on this roster next year because he better than all of them at this point to me. Still ain't good enough, but he better than all of them. Keep him on this roster. And when it doesn't pan out in 26, which it highly likely won't, but it might do. I don't know. But I'm just saying, if it doesn't, then you go in the draft and you find your quarterback. But do not make a swap and then lock us in on another guy. Because them other quarterbacks, when they get traded, if they get traded to Miami, they're going to be like, all right, I need a few more guarantees now. I need some more guarantees. Can we work on my deal and figure this out? That's what I don't want Miami doing. In no contract talks with no quarterback. Unless it's Tua wanting to take a pay cut. So this is why the Miami Dolphins keeping McDaniel and Tua. This is why. We don't like it. I don't like it. But truth of the matter is, it makes sense. It makes sense. One more year. And I'm probably really hurting some people right now. Like, no. It is what it is. This is what's best. I'll take this one question because it's intriguing to me. Shout out to the homie Q. He said, TD, what if Tua pans out and still wants to leave? Well, hey, if we went down this route that I'm telling you and Tua pans out, and first of all, we got to define pan. We got to define pan. Pan out. Pan out to me is, man, next year he leads this team to the divisional round. And we may lose in the divisional round, but we went to the playoffs. We won in round one. We went to the divisional round. Tua's balling. Tua's playing at a new peak. They're like, man, where all of a sudden? That's the definition of him panning out. So let's say that happens. And Tua say, I want to be traded. Look for a partner. And if we get an offer we love, all right, we'll go with it. If not, you're a Dolphin until your contract is up. It's that simple. It's that simple. When Q said he's over y'all, well, guess what? If you're over the Dolphins, are you playing like it? Because you still got to go out there and do your job. And if you're not going out there and doing your job, you're not going to pay it out. Tua has no leverage. Tua could say right now, season over, Dolphins win 7-10. Trade me. How? Okay, we give you permission for your representation to seek a trade. Do the work for us then. That's fine. Go find your trade partner. See, both things can't be true, Q. He can't pan out and think he have any leverage. He doesn't. That's the problem now. Tua panning out, he has no leverage whatsoever. We do what we want. We paid the price to do what we want. That's why we should have never paid it. But we did buy the rights to do what we want. Not him do what he want. Q said he can have a story ending this season and be a stubborn baby next year. Once again, Q, it works in the Dolphins' favor then. Story ending this year, we're keeping you next year, and you're being a stubborn baby. Are you being a stubborn baby on the field? Because if you are, you ain't paying it out. If you're still going out there doing your job, you can be as stubborn as you want, long as we win it. It doesn't matter. There ain't no, first of all, okay, and all of this is if he pans out. If he does. And even if he did, he has zero leverage. Zilch. Q says sit out. Thank you. You talk about a win for the Dolphins? Go ahead and sit out. We get to save money. Rebuild accelerated. Oh, we'll sit out faking injury. Injury insurance. You think we got insurance on that deal? Bro, listen, Q, there ain't nothing, not an iota of leverage Tua Tagovailoa has. We paid for him not to have none. I wish we didn't. We paid the price. It's hurting us right now. We paid this price. Sit out, be a baby, whine, do whatever you want. You have no leverage whatsoever. You can't go out there and blow it because you're really messing up your stock in the NFL. You got to play your best football. We don't even need to visit that anymore. Tua has no leverage. The Dolphins get to make the decisions from this point on. How and however they want to, whatever way they see fit. The only benefit of signing that bad deal. Q said, I don't think so, TD. Again, you're not explaining to me how he got any iota of leverage. There is none, bro. None. There ain't no such thing as just sitting out because, hey, I'm disgruntled. Hey, void your contract. We'll void your contract. You're not allowed to do that. Injury, we got insurance. Hey, that works in our favor. However you want to slice it, you don't have to think so. You got to give me you got to help me understand the leverage that you see him having. That way I can say, oh, I didn't think about it that way. That makes sense. That's all. Just some real conversation. So TD, Tua is stuck too. If we want him to be, we pay for that right to make that decision. What does the contract say about him sitting out? No player in the NFL is allowed to sit out. You can void the contract, period. There ain't no contract in the NFL where a player can say, I'm unhappy, I'm sitting out. Oh, well, you make life easy for us. Void the deal. There ain't no player in the NFL who can just openly sit out without risking their contract being voided. It's that simple. It don't have to say anything in the contract. You don't work, you don't get paid unless you have an injury, which we got insurance on. It's that simple. They're like, I mean, Q, you know better. You know better. Unless you ask for a trade. I just told you, Q. We have to, first of all, that's up to us if we want to trade them, number one. Number two, if you ask for a trade, go seek one. We'll see if we like what they're offering. Tell your agent to go find you a new home. Then when they call us with the offer, we'll see if we like it or not. That's up to us. That's solely up to us. That's my point. You can ask for a trade. That doesn't mean anything. Get out there and go to work and we'll think about it. We'll think about it. It's that simple, man. Yeah, like I said, he has zero leverage, okay? Real quick before we get up out of here, shout out to Christian Leap, at Christian Leap, say happy Thanksgiving, TD, and everyone. Salute to you, Christian Leap, and that is for everyone. Happy Thanksgiving to you all, okay? Y'all will sign Watson and free agent and make the Super Bowl. You know what? I wouldn't put it past the Dolphins for bringing Watson in on a cheap contract. Here's the problem with Watson's deal. Watson ain't got to play no football. Like now you have to talk about contracts. Watson, now will his contract be voided if he gets another one with another team? Or maybe he's only allowed to sign for the league minimum, which in that case, yeah, Miami might bring him in. But Watson, I ain't gonna lie, this is the biggest robbery in NFL history. Shout out to Deshaun Watson, I guess. He successfully completed the biggest heist in NFL history. This man had a fully guaranteed contract over $200 million and will see every single penny. And didn't even play 17 games. The man had a 5-year deal, is probably going to see every penny, and didn't even play 17 of the almost 80 games of 5 years would give you, or something like that. That's crazy. 90 games, somewhere around there. So, Watson probably gets to do whatever he wants to do. You probably sit back and say, where do I want to go for the league minimum? He's still going to get his 200 and something million. That's crazy work. I ain't gonna lie. That is crazy. The biggest heist. But I think in about 2 to 3 weeks, he'll probably be starting for the Browns for the last 3 or 4 games, and they'll probably want to see if he has anything at that time, because I think he's almost really close to coming back. They say he expect him to be available to play on the back end of the season. So look out for that. Shedeur might get 2 or 3 more games, and then Watson might be closing the season out. I think that's a real possibility. Watson's contract panned out about the same as Tua's did. Not quite, because, again, his was fully guaranteed. Tua's not going to see the full extent of his contract. He's not. Right? But, yeah. There you have it, ladies and gentlemen. The Miami Dolphins keeping McDaniel and Tua, and this is why. And I truly believe it. This ain't what I want to happen, but this is what actually makes the most sense. Business and everything. This is what makes the most sense. All right. All right. Thank y'all so much for tuning in. Don't forget, this stream was powered by Sleeper. All right. Take advantage of a 100% deposit match up to $100 using code tdphins. All right. Again, that is code tdphins. Take advantage of that opportunity. They're also giving you a chance for those who sign up for the first time. $20 entry, no deposit needed. You ain't got to put no money in. Sign up using the link in the description of the video. And that way you can go ahead and put your free ticket in and see if you win, and get a taste of Sleeper. And supporting our sponsors is supporting the channel. So good luck, and make sure that you play responsibly, okay? So once again, ladies and gentlemen, Mike McDaniel, Tua Tagovailoa, I believe they will be Miami Dolphin players next season, coach and player, all right? All right, y'all let me know what you think in the comment section. Leave a comment. Do you agree with my assessment of it? That makes sense. I know a lot of y'all don't want it to happen, but let me know in the comment section. I will see y'all soon. Y'all take care. Happy holidays. Peace. I am out.